Hello, hello. I figured I probably should start early because there was some confusion on the actual lives. But hello. Hey, Steve and Liz and Jerry. Poor Jerry sitting on the wrong one. But I figured I'd come on a little bit early because I was trying to plan it to was back to back, so you guys could jump right over and ask questions after the video. But maybe I will have to do that a little differently. Maybe schedule them, and poor Robin. Maybe schedule them at a little bit different times. Maybe do a premiere and then do a live Q&A like a few hours apart. Hey James, welcome. So we just did a premiere on YouTube and about blades, and so I'm here for questions and answers. And it doesn't necessarily have to be off of blades. Of course, that's what the series was about for tonight. We are going to start going over different kinds of saws. Well, we know now. Sorry, Robin. We're going to go over different kinds of saws and prepping your wood. We're going to do a whole series for anybody that's new to scroll sawing. I want to be able to help you guys because we all start somewhere, right? And there is never a dumb question. So I want to make sure that I get them in my messenger all the time. So figured might as well make videos. You'll watch here too. Thanks, Jerry. That way, you have somebody that you can talk to about. Now, I know that Crow, you were wondering about. You ordered them. Perfect. Yes. So you definitely want the adapters if you can get the adapters because it does limit you on what you can saw with pin blades. So, like I was showing you guys, like that is a huge drill bit that you have to fit that in there. So when you actually can use just a straight blade, you can do a lot more detail in there. Hey, Connie. I'm sorry, Larry. But you can still do detailed stuff with pin head blades. Now don't laugh. This was my 5th ever portrait on the saw. And this was done on my Ryobi. And I did have pin blades at that point. I did end up getting, I think this was during this portrait, I realized that I could do the flat head blades. But you had to really crank them with the Allen wrench in the Ryobi. It was a nightmare. But I did end up completing this on the Ryobi. And I believe I stopped my Ryobi when I was trying to do the Last Supper on my Ryobi. But I did attempt it. And I did a lot of them on my Ryobi, actually. That tiger right there was done on my Ryobi. And so was that, I'm going to say this wrong. The Highland cow up there. So those are both done on my Ryobi as well. So it is doable to do portrait work on your Ryobi, but it's definitely a little more challenging because you really challenged by the size of your tabletop. What did I miss? Hi, Connie. You got some ice cream in a Gatorade bottle? Well, that sounds good. So you guys have any questions for me? Anybody that's new that has any questions that you are dying to ask? Are you going to do any more scroll saw projects on here? Yes. So I kind of taken, well, it wasn't supposed to be this long of a year, but I had started a new job and really needed to focus. And so now that I'm back, I'm going to start doing projects and crafts and all of that again. I just figured I would start with a new series of for the new people, and then we'll start back in our projects. Hey, Ken. Okay, let's see here. So yes, more projects are coming. I'll be sawing live again, as well as doing some crafts too, because I really want to get back into crafting as well. I actually have this cute, like, it's like a little scarecrow guy. I don't know if you can see him. But I have a bunch of like little fall things that I want to start doing. So we are going to start those as well. So we'll saw and paint and craft with those. The rotten teach what I cut out the Punisher skulls and some other things. It's hard. Yes, you can do it. You can do it. You're just gonna have to do your pattern a little differently. But if you got the adapters, you'll be able to do anything that you want on that. It's a little smaller tabletop, so like you are gonna be a little more limited on your throat depth for your saw. But other than that, you can do anything that you want that you want to make. So actually, speaking of them, I just bought a router. So I'm going to order the base plate and some drill bits, and I'm going to try to do a router sign. So Crow, you have to watch me on that one. It will be a newbie. I'll be a newbie on that. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Yeah, they were super nice. It was really fun to meet them at the show. It's always fun to go to Scroll Soft shows or woodworking shows and be able to meet people that you watch all the time online and get to meet people in person. I got to meet Jerry, and so he came down to the show, so it's always fun. We just bought a new 788, and I love it. Awesome, James. Hey, JJE, how are you? Are the small straight blades fairly easy to handle curves? Yes. So actually, they're easier to handle curves. You have way more play. Hold on. Let me get... I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to open some blades really quick. And this will show you how they actually open too, I guess. So 2.0, let's see, we need a 1. And these are a lot different between these sizes. These are all still really small blades compared to what a lot of people saw with. But like I was talking about, you do get a way smoother cut the smaller your blade is. Because, it's hairline, right? So I'm going to unravel. You unravel your blades. They come in a gross pack of 12, like so. And I am going to put this here. And then let me grab one more. And these are 3/0s. Let's see if I can find the end here. The end. Okay, so this is a 2.0 blade, and it's like a hairline, right? But look at the flex in it. So going around corners, obviously you're going to have your blade tight, but it's super small, and so you really do have good movement with this. Now, this is a 1, and a 1 isn't very big, but it doesn't have the flex that you have with a thinner blade. Now, I use the flex to my advantage on corners, and I'll show you guys that when we do a next project, because it does make a difference. Doug! So yeah, there is a big difference. The bigger the blade, you don't have any flex. And when I'm letting the blade grab the wood, and kind of turning it, like slowly maneuvering my board, this flexes with my board a little bit more, so it will grab it around the corner. Now, if you get off your line on a corner, it's okay. Just keep going. Because if you're using a spiral, you can always go back and sand it down a little bit, like I showed in the video. I tend to get way better circles or curves if I let the blade just do its thing. And if it goes out just a little bit, it just has more of a natural curve. I was watching a bandsaw guy reverse against the blade method to kind of sand to the line. Can you do that with straight blades too? You can if you go all the way back and then go forward again. You can kind of sand with them. It's really hard. It's a lot harder. Like a spiral, you can go in any direction, so you can kind of go back and forth just right there, wherever you need. The only thing that you need to be careful with when you are sanding with a blade is sometimes if you have like a little, or I'll show you. If you have like a little groove that you're sanding, right, and it kind of goes in, your blade will get caught on there. So you always want to make sure that you try to stay on the highest peak until it's down straight. If you end up just going over the whole thing, that divot that you're trying to match up to is going to go down farther. So you do have to watch what you're doing on that. What is the blade that you use most? So I'm 90% spiral blade user at this point, just because I do so many portraits. Hey babe, is my Last Supper down? Can you bring it to me? So, he's like, no, I don't want to bring you your portrait. What was I saying now? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, I use 90% spirals. And the reason is I like to do very big portraits. And I don't have to worry about the throat depth of my actual saw. I can do as big a portrait as I want. Now, if I were to use a straight blade, I would have to worry about how far I could flip my board on my saw without it hitting the back throat of the saw. So that's why I like to use spiral blades. And I tend to I've learned the spiral blade to where I can do a really good, clean job with them. So I tend to use spiral blades more. Now, if I'm doing like a number sign, let me grab it really quick. No?
No, it will not go over my swords and my Chinese.
Okay.
Needed more warning.
Sorry. Okay, so if I'm doing number signs like this, then I used a straight blade on these. I like the way the crisp lines, and they're just easy to cut with a straight blade. So this I did with a straight blade just because they were numbers. And I don't have to worry about throat depth because it's numbers. He's trying to get it down. We'll see. We'll see if he can bring it. But anyways, I did the Last Supper. It's like 3 feet by 2 feet. And since I use spiral blades, I didn't have to worry about trying to flip this super detailed pattern. Wow, that's bigger than I thought it was. Yeah, it's actually huge. So it ended up being like a full, I think it's at least like 3.5 feet. And each one of these numbers is 9 inches. So if that tells you anything. So yeah, it's a big guy. But you have to be able to see it from the street, right? So I love that one.
Just have a bunch of it.
Oh, he got it. Thanks, babe.
I love you, honey.
So if you want to do detailed work, this is why I love the spiral blade, because it allows me to do super detailed work, and a lot bigger than what you would be able to do like with a flat straight blade. So this is why I tend to go more for spiral blades. But like I said, I use both. And I really do think that if you're new to sawing, everybody that saws needs to use both. If you learn both, then everybody's saying thanks, babe. If you learn both, then you can do anything, right? And I really do feel like every blade has a purpose. So there's times that you should do spirals and there's times that you should do flat blades. So you're just more well-rounded when you learn them both, right? Hi, Yari. Welcome back. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Charles. Hey, Carmen. Okay. I want to try straight blades again. I have some I bought by mistake. You should do it. They're great blades, and you can do a lot with a flat blade. It's just really about your throat depth of your saw. So you just have to take that in consideration when picking out a project to do with a straight blade, that you are going to have to flip your wood instead of just moving the wood around the blade. So any more questions for me? I want to keep you all night. I already kept you for like 20 minutes on the last one. So the next video is going to come out and we're going to talk about scroll saws. So I use the Seiko scroll saw now. I have 2 of them in here. I love my Seiko. But I did start out on a Ryobi. I went to a Delta and then I ended up at a Seiko. So I've had my fair share of sawing on different saws. So we're going to kind of go over, I actually still have my Ryobi. It's in the garage. So I'm going to bring it in and kind of show you the difference on how to change your blade out and what you have to do in order to saw on a Ryobi, and the difference between like a scroll saw that you buy at Home Depot to a scroll saw that is mid-grade, then to the Seiko in Pegasus. When is a good starter saw? So here's the deal. I'm a little biased on this because I learned the hard way a little bit. But I think any saw is a great saw to start on because you're trying it. But everybody was like, Shay, just honing your skills on the Ryobi and you'll get better and then you can upgrade your saw or whatnot. Well, let me tell you, the vibration on that Ryobi was so horrible. And the tabletop was so small. I was like, I can't hone in any skill on this. I'm just holding onto my face. So it really does make a difference if you get like a mid-grade saw compared to one that you would buy like a Ryobi, on like the vibration and everything. For those, you want to make sure that they're secured really down to the table. But I say, like, if you can start sawing, saw on anything. If you can afford to start with a mid-grade saw, I would start with a mid-grade like a DeWalt or Delta. They're great. I actually made enough money on my Delta to get my Seiko, my first Seiko. So yeah, I mean, any saw is great to start on. Just know that it is different when you saw on a mid-grade or one of the top grade saws. It does make a big difference in your overall work. And it can be frustrating trying to change out the blades, especially when you have to use like an Allen wrench and you're trying to get all these different holes. It's just kind of a frustrating process. So I don't ever want anybody to get frustrated with sawing and then not want to do it anymore. So I always tell everybody, if you can start with the mid-grade, just so you don't have as much frustration when you're first learning. What are the key factors to consider when choosing scroll saw blades for a different project? Good question, Robin. So there's a couple things. The size of your project, obviously. So if you're doing both spiral and flat blades, kind of the size of your project kind of tells you what you should use. What size you're wanting to do it. The thickness of your wood, depending on what size of blade you're going to use. So in the description on the video, the blade video, there's actually a chart that tells you what size of blade that you'll need for what size of wood. I can pretty much cut anything like with my 2/0s and 3/0s, I can cut all the way to 1/4, no problem whatsoever. If anything over 1/4, I usually use a size 1. Let's see. Yes, Pegasus spirals are very brittle. I talked about that in my last video that we just watched, Charles. That I had a really hard time with them because I'm like a bull in a china shop and kept dropping my wood on them and they would break. So that wasn't for me. So my brand is Flying Dutchman that I learned. But I do suggest getting like a variety pack and buying multiple blades to kind of see what blade fits your style, because if you're heavy-handed and you're pushing a certain way, the blade's veering a different way. Every blade reacts different, so it's good to like learn a bunch of different blades. Let's see. Which brand of flat blade would you recommend? Good choice to try. So I have 2 Flying Dutchman reverse tooth straight blades. Love them. And I also love Seiko's platinum blade. Now, I didn't think I was going to like this blade, and I absolutely love this blade. This one's up there with the Flying Dutchman for me. So those are the 2 that I've honed in on that I like, as far as the flat straight blades. What's a common mistake people when scroll saw blades and how to avoid them? What is a common mistake people make when using scroll saw blades and how to avoid them? Over tightening your blade. Do not over tighten your blade. That is like the biggest mistake that most people make. So when you put your blade in and you screw in your blade, it doesn't take much. It's just to turn it to grab the blade. When you over tighten your blade, there's little pads inside here on your, let me actually, okay, well, okay, so this is what your blade is pushing against on a screw inside there. Now, I have this pushed out, but it has a little flex in it. It's got this little piece. This actually gets replaced, and you should replace these. They're a blade renewal kit, and you will want these to be replaced because they will lose their spring action after a while, and you'll need a new one. Now, it hits, there's a screw on this side, and it pushes against that and clamps your blade. That's what clamps it. What happens when you over tighten, eventually if you over tighten too much, I wish I could move you down, you guys. Let's see if I can. Nope. Oh, now I'm frozen. Uh-oh. Hold up. All right. We're switching cams for a second. Okay, so if you over tighten this front piece will actually spread out, and you'll have to replace this whole piece on your saw. So you don't want to over tighten your blade, and you will also have more of a chance of breaking off the top of your blade if you over tighten it. Let's see. Let's try that one again. Nope, still frozen. Okay. Oops. Oops, I broke the camera. Darn it. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, you would think it wouldn't be like frozen. It would just go off. And it's still, hold on, let me make sure that I didn't actually unplug the camera. But I think it's still plugged in. Okay. Let's try it. Nope. I'm broken. All right. Well, I guess you're seeing my saw now. Okay. You had to order new screws and it took forever. Yes. You never want to over tighten your blade. So that's probably the biggest mistake that people make when they saw it, especially new people. They over tighten their blade. It doesn't take much to hold that blade in. Hey, days gone by. How are you? Hi, Joy. I wasn't sure which one it was. Well, now my face is gone because I froze my camera. But what made you get into scroll sawing? Necessity or just seeing what you could do? So actually, the reason why I got into scroll sawing was because I wanted to make the word eat for my kitchen. And then I got into some groups and realized that you could actually do like portrait patterns and stuff. So I made the letter M for my door. And then I made my next portrait was Marilyn Monroe. And then I just went from there and I never went back. And I still have not made the word eat for my kitchen. But I wasn't really planning on becoming a scroll saw artist. I just wanted to do some crafts that I could make. I had a Cameo and I realized I could use the patterns from the Cameo to saw. And so I thought that would be like a cool thing to do. And then it kind of went from there. Question. Oh, I just answered that one. Maybe if you remove it, it's a virtual cam though, so I don't. Yeah, it's done. Necessity. Yeah, it was kind of a necessity. All right, you guys, any more questions for me? I'm going to end this thing tonight for our Q&A. And then the next video is going to be about the different types of scroll saws and the differences on changing blades and so on. And like a lot of the scroll saws, the table moves, not the head of the saw if you want to cut out a diagonal. So I'll kind of walk you through all of that. But if you haven't watched the video tonight, on YouTube, because I know there was some confusion, go over and check out the blades video. I went through spirals, pinhead, and straight blades on there, kind of give you a little bit more detail. Thank you for live. Make sure you go watch the video under the video tab. Thank you, Robin. So yes, thank you for everybody for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys learned something. And there will be more videos to come shortly. And we will put in some crafting and some sawing, live sawing in between the videos as well. But there you go. All right, you guys, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.